Let's talk about the importance of sound and being sure that your audio is just the way that you want it. Now, all microphones are unique, and chances are your device will have a built in microphone. However, I strongly suggest that you consider using an alternative or exterior microphone to increase the sound quality of your recording. The reason for this is because the built in microphones tend not to pick up the audio as well as an external microphone. In addition to this, you'll want to identify your program's sound option preferences and utilize any of the adjustment features as necessary. Now, depending on your program or operating system, you may find your input settings for your microphone in different locations. But nonetheless, each of the operating systems will have an opportunity to adjust the input volume on the microphone. What this does is it adjusts how loud the recording audio is going to be, which then allows you to adjust the audio later on in your final recording. Generally speaking, when you're going to adjust your audio input levels, you want to keep them approximately 75 to 80% of the overall maximum. The reason for this is because you don't want your audio levels to peak. When the audio levels peak, the sound quality is diminished, and it also makes it very difficult for your audience to listen because of those peak levels. The best way to ensure that your audio levels are just right is to go ahead and do a few test recordings and then check and listen to see how they sound. I recommend using a set of headphones when doing this because you'll get a much clearer and better listen of what the audio actually sounds like. Chances are in your post-production you'll have the opportunity to adjust the levels. In other words, turn up the volume or turn down the volume on the recording. But you want to make sure that you get good quality sound at the beginning because you can't edit in quality after the fact. Once you've got your camera set up, your audio levels checked, and your lighting good to go, it's time to move on to the recording environment. This is to ensure that you minimize any potential distractions that might take away from the final quality of the recorded video. First, you want to consider where you're locating your microphone next to your computer. It doesn't necessarily have to be directly next to it or adjacent to the computer to be effective. In fact, chances are you'll need to move your microphone around to a few different locations to ensure that you're picking up the best quality audio, and sometimes putting it right next to the camera or the computer isn't always the best location. The next thing that we want to think about is turning off anything in the room that's potentially making noise or might make noise later on. Fans, air conditioning, and heating systems have a tendency to turn on and off depending on the temperature of the room. You'll want to go through and turn off any fans, heating, or air conditioning units to ensure that they don't come on in the midst of the recording. Because if they do, there's a good chance that they'll detract from the audio that you've been working so hard to get just right. Next, you want to set up the environment to ensure that everyone else around you knows that you're doing a video recording. This means potentially placing notes on your office door or keeping all doors and windows closed to ensure that the outside environment doesn't find its way into your video. These are all tips and practices that you want to follow to ensure that your environment is just right. But chances are your environment is going to be unique. So take some time to look around and think about anything that might distract from your video recording. If you have pets in the house, maybe you want to put them in a different room while you're recording so that they don't walk through the background of your shot. Ultimately, it's just important that you create a distraction-free environment. You want your video recording to look professional, and you want your audience's attention focused 100% on you. So find ways to eliminate anything that might create a distraction and take away from the effectiveness of your delivery.